You're listening to the Traffic and Conversion Show. I'm your host, Michelle Fernandez, and today I am sharing how do you know your marketing investments are driving results? So stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. What is going on in your world? As of the recording of this episode, I'm heading out for a mastermind retreat. And before that, I'm going to be stopping in Chicago to see my daughter's new apartment. So needless to say, I am so excited. I just love taking work trips and adding personal time to it. Now, this will be our last retreat of the year, so it should be a good one to wrap up the year nicely. And there's really nothing like ending the year better than when it started. So, have you reflected on your 2022 yet? My annual planning session is coming end of November to really take some time and reflect. I have this whole process that I do and ask myself a lot of questions and really just kind of reflect on the year and what the next year looks like moving forward. However, there has been a lot that has gone on this year, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This year for me was all about breaking my business down to the foundation and rebuilding it up with some new systems, new processes, or tweaking those systems and processes that I had in place, as well as with the team and with clients, right? And as painful as it was at times, I am so glad that I did it. It's one of those things where you're afraid to let something go, even though you know something better is waiting for you on the other side. It's almost like you just have to bite the bullet and just do it, right? So at the beginning of this year, I decided that when it came to spending money, all of it was going to be spent on acquiring leads or sales. I kept saying, like, if it's not going to get me a lead or a sale, I am not investing in it, right? So if that was a tool, maybe somebody on the team, a new hire, maybe a course I would buy, any type of paid traffic, whatever it was, I would have to get or see a clear return on every dollar. That was the path that I took. And it kind of started this breaking down back down to the foundations that I started to share with you, right? And part of that was also to become up with specific key performance indicators. So you might have also heard them called as KPIs for all the things that allowed me to clearly measure the outcome, right? So this is something that's vital to your business because when it comes to improving your marketing's return on investment, it's critical that you do have specific KPIs for all of your campaigns or all of your things. Just side note, whether it comes to marketing or not, to make sure that whatever efforts you are doing, especially when it comes to your marketing efforts, are really driving the results. Here's why. There are so many moving parts to a marketing campaign that it seems cumbersome, right? And almost, might I say, impossible at times, right? Some entrepreneurs, it might be easier to just keep deploying new strategies, right? And just be like, okay, this is not working. I'm just going to try this thing. Okay, I'm going to try. So sometimes we even relate that to that shiny object syndrome, but it's really just not knowing, right? And when you're not measuring at all, that's when you just start thinking that nothing is working. Where maybe starting something new is not always the answer to the campaigns that aren't working because you don't know if it's really not working, because if you're not measuring your marketing, how do you know, right? So listen to this statistic. According to HubSpot, 78% of executives do not believe that marketers are focused enough on results to truly drive incremental customer demand. Okay. That's like when I read that, I was like, oh, wow, because a lot of times we're just like moving. And in this world that we live in now, it's like we want everything faster, right? And yes, you join coaching programs because they accelerate your results and they get you there faster. But if we can just backtrack for a minute, and most of these gurus or our mentors or whatever that we follow, this was not an overnight success. Like one of my mentors was like, this was a 17-year success or an 8-year success story, right? You're just seeing them coming out of, okay, when they finally dialed in on the system that they were using, or the program or the offer and how they positioned it with their messaging, you're seeing them come out of that and even maybe even have a quantum leap because they finally figured it out, right? So just keep that in mind, that especially when you join a program and you're like, oh, this is going to accelerate my results. So therefore, by the end of this program, I should be, making 7 figures a week and I should have all these team members and all these systems in place. No, it all takes time. And the good news is that when you join these programs, is they're cutting out some of that learning process so you can get there faster. However, you still got to figure out what works for you, your offer, your messaging, your clients, all that stuff. All right. So when it comes back to, I'm bringing it back to, how do you know if you're really getting that return on investment? Let me just share a few steps with you to help you get started. Okay. So the first is you want to define your marketing campaign. So really, what is that journey, your customer journey from brand awareness to customer to when they become a buyer look like, right? Also, what kind of assets do you have? What kind of videos, lead magnets, offers? Like, what are those assets? And what are you going to be selling? What is your signature offer? What is that one thing that you're just going to shoot off for? And even if you have like an ascension model with a lower ticket and then maybe a higher ticket, right? What is that signature offer thing that if I landed on your social media or your website, I would know exactly what the one thing is that you're selling, okay? And then what is the thing that's going to sell the thing, right? So is it a webinar? Is it a challenge? Like, what is that? Is it a book a call? What is that, okay? And then do you have a well-designed landing page to capture the leads or sales, right? So these are all things that when you're looking at your definition of your marketing strategy, right, or your campaign, those are all the questions that you should be asking yourself, because the effectiveness of your marketing for this campaign will be measured by the short-term and long-term cost to acquire a lead and the cost to acquire a customer, as well as the revenue generated, right? So if you're thinking about like making it difficult, right? Like, I think a lot of times we all, including myself, make things more difficult than they need to be, right? Because we're thinking, wait, it just can't be that. There has to be something more to it, right? But if you just rewound and listen to what I said, when we're measuring, we're really kind of coming up with 3 things: the cost to acquire a lead, acquire a customer, and the revenue generated, right? Yes, there are a million metrics in between, but if we can even just focus, depending on how your brain works, like, okay, this is where I know where I need to be. Now, how do I get better results from there? Okay, make sense? Okay. Ask yourself those questions. Then set clear objectives. You definitely want to make sure that each goal is specific and measurable, right? Being detailed will allow you to use the goals as your benchmarks to evaluate from. Then you want to define your marketing channels, right? You should never have all your eggs in one basket. The idea is to have a mix of this organic and paid marketing strategies. And within the organic and paid, you should still have a mix, right? So it's not just, oh, I'm only going to be on Instagram, right? Are you on TikTok? Are you doing like what I call next level organic strategies, where you're leveraging your relationships? Paid marketing, that should be self-explanatory, like not just all on Facebook. Maybe you're on YouTube, TikTok. What are you doing? Okay. And really what we want to see is putting together these strategies that really drive demand for your product or service. So for social media, which channel or channels will you be focusing on, right? Going deeper than engagement. Like, where are the inquiries? Where are the leads? Where are the sales? Where are they all coming from? That should help you decide what's working. And if right now you're like, Michelle, nothing is working from sales, okay, then that's when they tell you, oh, start with one, see how you can get the feel, get your messaging down in order to start creating those inquiries, leads, and sales, okay? Right, paid traffic. To know if your marketing dollars are working, that's super easy to determine based on how many conversions were generated based on the amount spent. Easy enough, right? Now, emails. How do you know if your emails are driving results? This is a big thing nowadays, right? We want to look at your click-through rates We also want to figure out, okay, what conversions are coming from these emails. So are you setting up some sort of separate funnel where now you can say, okay, well, I know every lead or sale that came through this particular funnel step came from my emails, right? This one came from Facebook ads. This one came from YouTube, right? There's some super complex systems like a HubSpot, which is a beast, and I don't recommend it for everyone that will do that for you. However, setting all that up is like, you know, it is a beast, right? With everything else, you can do them separate or tag them somehow so you know what is what. And then the other thing you want to look at with your emails are bounce rates. Like bounce rates with your emails or your website is really like, are they even on there? Or are they bouncing off? Okay, so just think bounce, it's like they land and bounce off, kind of like a trampoline. Like they're not even watching, they're just moving on, okay? Now, existing customers, this is a big one. Are you measuring the lifetime value of your customers? And how about those churn rates? So how, if you have a membership or some sort of program where they can renew, are they renewing or are they jumping off? How long are they staying with you? Okay, because it's definitely cheaper to retain a customer than acquire a new one. So that's what we need to think about with our existing customers. And then the last is to measure and measure often. Remember that data takes the drama out, right? So once you have the data, you can make clear decisions and know exactly where you should be focusing your time and money in your marketing so you can get better results. And I know that might sound boring. And I was even telling one of my fractional CMO clients the other day, I'm like, hey, look at these metrics every 3 days, right? Because then that will give you like, especially with the amount of traffic that they're driving, that'll give you a good, like, don't just be looking at every day, because sometimes, especially if your budget is lower, when you're looking at things every day, there's not much that's going to be happening. So for you to make a decision based on 1 day's worth of data sometimes is just not enough for you to make an informed decision and know what to do to move forward. So 3 to 7 days is really where you want to look at it, okay? And actually, I was talking, that made me think about the KPIs. I was talking to a client the other day and realized that they were focusing on one KPI that they should no longer be focusing on in order for them to scale. Okay, so you might be saying, wait, what? I know, because as your business grows, your marketing improves, now there's new KPIs that you should be focusing on. Just think about it like I was going to say at the gym, but I don't know, are we ever body perfect, right? But let's say it's like you wanted to, okay, let's just take our health. So let's just say for our health, not necessarily weight loss or anything like that, but we want to improve some things that maybe starts with the inflammation, right? So let's say your body's inflamed, because I have that issue where I have a lot of inflammation. So my first goal is to, how do I reduce this inflammation in my body, right? Then once the inflammation is gone, then I could start focusing on, okay, now that I know what foods I should eat, now let me focus on other foods to see, like, does this cause inflammation or not? So you see how if I was putting a KPI to it, my KPI would first be on the inflammation. Now it's going to the food. Then maybe it's going to the exercise. So yes, I'm still monitoring my inflammation. However, that's not my main focus, because now I got that under control. That's working. You see how that goes? Now, this is all the reason that I'm doing this 3-hour workshop where you can actually set up your 2023 marketing game plan and walk away with a mapped out marketing plan that executes your business vision. It has key actions that will drive demand for your offers, and you will prepare quantifiable measurements to gauge the overall marketing performance so you and your team can stay on track with your marketing goals and know if your marketing efforts are driving those results. Right? Doesn't that sound awesome? It is awesome. We've already started selling tickets. So if you want to get your ticket, go to themichellefernandez.com/annual, and I'll definitely drop it in the show notes. I'm also putting together a couple of bonuses that I think would be really great in helping you. Like I already did yesterday, I started to work on some cash injection marketing campaigns for you to get a nice little cash injection in your business, because who doesn't want a cash injection? And I'm working on a couple of other things as well, so make sure you stay tuned. I cannot wait to see you live inside the 2023 Marketing Game Plan Workshop, so definitely go get your ticket. It does cost money, I will say that. However, it's so minimal to what you will get on the return on investment. Trust that, okay? I appreciate you so much for being here with me today. Cheers to marketing your business and driving results. Until next time, let's grow your business together.